We are excited to present this week's Virtual Vendor Friday with Medical Lien Recovery, better known as MLR. Michael Coates, the founder and president of MLR, has championed on behalf of chiropractors through in-depth education, continuous support, and devoted advocacy. And today, along with David Lefevre, the MLR Chief Technology Officer, and Robin Abrams, MLR's Chief Operating Officer, they'll be showing you their MLR outsource, MLR Portal, and lots more. So I'd like to hand it over now to Michael and his team.
Hey everybody, so hopefully I'm sure I've met a number of you as I speak around the state in the area of personal injury and medical liens. So I think I've hit most districts at one point or another over the past couple of years. And if not, I'm sure I will later. I'm president and founder of Medical Lien Recovery. I started this company back in 2012, helping out actually one of your members, Dr. Timothy Noble in Anaheim Hills. And Tim was coming to me with a problem saying, Mike, can you help me? I've got these attorneys that just are screwing me on my bills. What do I do? Can you help? And not only did I help him, but what I found out in the process was I couldn't believe the unfairness that I saw in this entire industry. I did a lot of research, and that's what started the beginning of the company, because we found that there was nobody, literally not a single company, that was advocating solely for the chiropractor and the medical provider in personal injury. So that's how we came about. What had been started since that time was what we call MLROutsource. That's where we, our company, negotiates on your behalf with the patient attorneys, so that when they're lowballing you on your bill, they've taken your med pay, they're not telling you about settlement, or they're hiding recoveries, or they simply don't want to be fair or won't budge. That's when we come in and we solve that problem for you. We take away the pain, and as we say in our tagline, it's more revenue for you, the owner, and it's less stress for you and your staff. So that's where we do it for you. There's another segment that we found, and I'm going to let Robin explain a little bit of how that came about. But we call that the MLR Portal. That is about where you do it for yourself. And one of the reasons for that is, granted, after doing this for 7 years, there's not a law firm in the state that enjoys seeing my name or Medical Lien Recovery when they get an email from me, because what that means is they're definitely going to be paying you more, and they know that. And so in terms of dealing with this, we thought, why don't we give, instead of holding on to this trade secret that we do, why not we start to help the providers to where you can do it yourself? So we have this free portal that we've got out there to already provide these great tools and resources, and then we're doing a very much more expanded item that's going to be even more nationwide, that's coming out later, that the rest we'll talk about. So those are our two segments. You can have either MLROutsource, where we do it for you, the portal where you do it for yourself, or as many are going to be doing, is using both. Even when you do it yourself, it's kind of like when you go want to get your TV fixed. You may have a little bit be able to do it, but you still want to call the TV guy to handle it because you don't want the stress. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Robin Abrams, our COO, to give you a little bit more insight about the portal, because that's really, I think, the thing that's open as free for all of you to utilize right now and help your practice today.
Thank you, Michael. So when Michael first introduced me to Medical Lien Recovery, I really needed to understand the point of pain that the providers were experiencing. So I went around the state and I spoke with chiropractors and other providers. And what I found is that there was a commonality of attorneys that were lowballing providers on their bill. And there really wasn't a lot of education or resources or any other company that advocated or championed for them to get paid a fair amount and properly and timely. And so Michael and I, through discussion, talked about how can we take what Michael was doing and roll it out to chiropractors throughout the state so they can negotiate better themselves. And we came up with the idea for the Medical Lien Recovery Portal, also known as MLR Portal. And what that is, it's a very robust learning environment. It is a centralized place where we have many different resources and tools, including free course with tips and tools on how to negotiate, including some protocols and processes that we recommend you put in place. It is where we have forms and agreements that you can download, a ton of resources. And it's also where we have our Wine with Mike on-demand programs that we do once a month. So if you've missed them and you would like to watch them, we have expert guests that have a conversation with a glass of wine and talk about things that are really important to the provider community on how to do business better, on busting myths. We have a new Ask the Expert area, and we also have webinar series on demand and some other content that David will talk about. And what's been really exciting for us is that we want to show value and help providers. We are part of your community, and to do so, we have rolled out this portal. There is no fee for membership. You can sign on and access all of this great information. And it gives us so much pride to know that we are getting a ton of feedback, that providers are downloading our documents and utilizing the tips and tools, and they're doing it better for themselves in addition to what Michael does for them. So I'm really excited to be part of this organization. David, why don't you now take us through a little bit about the portal, and we can answer questions and we can talk a little bit more about the specifics. I think you need to unmute.
Yeah, David, you're muted. Sorry about that.
That's what you get for making me mute out the gate. So I apologize. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to take a few minutes to just walk through the portal, and show you how to get to it, what it is, and what you can find in there today. And then some of the things we're talking about that we're doing that's going to come out as we progress forward. So the first thing is you can get to our portal a couple ways. The first one, if you go to Medical Lien Recovery, simply go to MLR Portal and click on the MLR Portal login button. And what that'll do is that'll jump you to where our portal exists, which is at MLRPortal.com. So you can either go through Medical Lien Recovery, click on the button, or you can just go directly to MLRPortal.com. Now, we've got a sign-up process that we've used here because the portal is only for medical providers and staff. We don't want people that are not going to benefit from what we're doing to have access to this information. So it is proprietary, and it is intended to help you chiropractors, medical professionals from that perspective. So when you go to the website, we're going to ask you to log in. You can go in and let me click on the right thing here. Sorry about that. All right, you're gonna log in, and you're gonna end up on our homepage. And what the first thing we'd like you to do is take a look at the Get Started page. And on the Get Started page, it really does give you the instructions on how to go about finding information, looking for what you're wanting to find, how to use our learning center, how to use our course, and how to use our resource library. Okay, much of the other stuff that we have out here, the videos, the webinars, is pretty typical of other websites that you see throughout the land, throughout the internet. Which we'll look at that in a second. Now, what many of you have probably seen is our Wine with Mike events going on. So I'm going to take a quick second and kind of jump over to that. And what you'll do is when you click on anything to do with Wine with Mike, you're going to land on this page. And the intention here is really to describe for you what the Wine with Mike is and then tell you what's coming up. So you can see here on August 11th, we've got a webinar, or a Wine with Mike webinar, which Michael can talk a little bit more about in a minute, but about preventing and detecting fraud and embezzlement in your medical practice. Now, if you're not in the portal yet, you'll want to go ahead and sign up and go through the process of getting your login, getting your account set up. And then at that point, anybody that's a portal member, anybody that has an account is going to be able to join and watch the Wine with Mike. Now back to what's in the portal. So we have, right now, there's essentially 3 buckets of information. The first one is the Learning Center, whereas if you click on the tips and tools for providers, you'll end up at our free course. This is a multi-page course. The intention here is to really give you the essential basics and get you in the right frame of mind on how to do better with your negotiations, how to do some best practices to put yourself in the best position to be able to get the most for your, the most recovery for the liens that you have out there. And again, Michael can speak a little more to that. Also underneath the Learning Center, we have webinars. And back in April, we did a series of webinars really focused on the issues going around COVID and how practitioners can deal with it better. Along with that, we also have an ethics of personal injury webinar. This is about 2 hours worth of content there, but really is designed to help you understand our position around how we feel that chiropractors should be positioning themselves in the world of personal injury. A couple more things. One is the Wine with Mike. Now, if you're a portal member, not only do you get to watch the upcoming videos, but you also get to watch the former videos. So you just come in here and you click on these and you can see the information and you can watch the video. So this is what we have for all of our learning at the moment. But you know what everybody really wants to see are the resources that we have available. So there's a couple things on resources. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the library. Whereas if you go into the library, the intention here is to give you not only learning and tools and tips and forms, but also give you some of our old newsletters, which also contain valuable information. But what everybody really is asking for and wanting to see is the 2-page lien agreement. So if you put your mouse over on resources, you click on lien agreement, it'll bring up the lien agreement itself. And all of our resource pages are available for download or for viewing, depending upon whether they're proprietary and they're okay to share or whether they're not okay to share. In this case, you know, we want you to have the lien agreement. You need to be able to download it. We want you to be able to utilize it, compare against your lien agreement, edit it as necessary. So when you're in here, you can view it by simply scrolling up and down. You can click the buttons here and you can zoom in, zoom out, make it full screen. Or you can go ahead and click the download button. And when you do that, it'll download to your computer where you can then open it up. I'm going to open it here, drag it over. And come on, computer, there we go. Apologize, my mouse is not cooperating today. There we go. And you have the lien agreement available for you to edit and do whatever you want to do. So that's pretty much a quick run through of the portal at the moment. We have several upcoming features that are on our roadmap. We'll talk about those another time. But in the meantime, I'm going to pass it back to Michael. Michael, anything you'd like to talk about on the lien agreement or anything else with the portal?
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Great little back of the house tour. First on the lien agreement, just to realize, you know, like on all business, you know, part of the portal is about, you know, our tagline is doing business better in personal injury. Well, doing business better in personal injury is really about doing business. And you're not only just great providers, you are also want to be great business people. Well, business, if you know what is the foundation of it in the world today, it really is contracts. And that's what your lien agreement is. So it really is the start and ending point. Especially now, I think you're going to find that more attorneys are being a little more litigious, and you'll probably deal with interpleader more often or other things that you'll have to go through. So having a really good lien agreement is going to position you better to get paid better. When the attorneys try to do certain things, this particular lien agreement, which I redesigned this year, was addressing things that come across new every year. I always find new stuff. So you've got things about med pay in there, and things, of course, you want to be able to have interest because it's your only protection against time. So all the things you do, I just encourage you to look at that document. Also, one of the things that you'll find in that resource we'll be adding shortly is a PI audit and case tracking spreadsheet. This will be perhaps used even more than the lien agreement because it serves two purposes. One, this one spreadsheet, which we will have all there for you to just fill out, will allow you to track all of your pending matters per law firm. So when you call up a law firm, you're going to be able to just rattle off the items. You'll be much more efficient, but even better. The second part of that is to track the historical results with the law firm. You think what you're getting paid and how well you're doing with somebody when you really don't know. So tracking not only how much, how long it took, med pay issues, other things, you're going to get a really good feel with the individual law firms by what we set out. So it's really key when you're doing business and personal injury to approach it like a business person. The thing is, I would encourage you to join on our August 11th Wine with Mike. The guest that we're having is a fraud and embezzlement expert, as well as on valuations, testifies in court all the time, even around the country. He's fantastic at this. And 80% of medical practices get hit by fraud or embezzlement. It's not a small number. So I'd encourage you to join us. We're going to have a little glass of wine, have some great conversation. You'll get a lot out of that. So just realize again, you've got MLR Outsource where we can do it and help you. You've got the portal where we're going to be expanding that to where you can really do it yourself, and we're here to help. Last thing I want to say before turning it back over to Robin is just my incredible support for CalChiro. I not only have been, speaking around the states of the district, but I think you guys literally have the best executive director about any industry association that exists in Don Benton. You are very lucky to have someone like that, and an entire team like Nicole and Kaylee here. They work tirelessly to help all of you. And as an industry, we all need to get together and behind things to change things. So CalChiro does it in that very large lobbying fashion, especially. But really the portal is an offshoot of that. We're trying to get the industry as a whole in personal injury, that little community, to get together and rally as a group to change the course of personal injury, to do it better and do it right. Tell not just you, but the patient and the attorney. So there's a great alignment between both Medical Lien Recovery and CalChiro in that regard. So Robin, let me shift it back to you for a few more things before we get over to questions and other things.
I'm actually glad that you mentioned that, because one of the things I wanted to say is how proud we are as a company to have become a sponsor this year of CalChiro. And we don't just send out our emails every week, and I'm sure you've seen them in your mailboxes or your inboxes, because we're promoting ourselves. We're sending valuable tips and tools to help you. And so each week when you get an email, there is important information, whether it's we're busting common myths that you're told by attorneys, and we theme them with our Wine with Mikes and the expert that we have as guests. We also write about all of these things in our newsletters each month, which we send out. And we have a lot of programs, and we encourage you to write to us and let us know if there's things that you would like to see or hear about that, expands our mind and our, purview of things that we could provide. We really like that. We want to be there to help you. And sometimes we're not thinking that far out of the box, and there might be an area or something that you've experienced that you need more information about, and we are more than happy to address it. And we like that. The other thing I wanted to say is that the portal that you're seeing now is basically a tidbit of what's to come. And we're really excited about that. So as you navigate and as you learn and as you experience all of the resources that are available, know that by the early part of next year, there will be an incredibly comprehensive portal that will be the first of its kind in the industry. And we hope that you will continue to monitor the progress as we move forward and utilize all of the resources that are continuously being added. This is not a once and done resource. We are redoing our free portal course. We always update our agreements and our forms. And if we learn something, we share it with you, because it's really important that we all stay up to date as an industry so we can all thrive. And we're very excited about that. So thank you, Michael, and thank you, Nicole and Kaylee and David, for giving us this opportunity to speak. And we really want to answer any questions that you have at this time.
Let me actually put a little more perspective on that expanded portal that we're going to be doing. If I want to put some numbers behind it, my belief is that your staff with the expanded portal, where a lot of my brain is downloaded, but the processes and how we do things, you're going to get a 30% bump probably, at least I figure, in how you go about in your lien recovery. Now, how significant will that be for your practice? So I want you to keep that in mind as you continue to monitor and look and do, because it's all going to be really about how you do business better in personal injury. Nicole and Kaylee, thank you both for having us on today. Have you got any questions by anybody?
Yeah, so let's see. And also I did want to put in the chat feature. I'll put it in right now, is the link to register for Wine with Mike on August 11th, so that you have that handy so that you can, register if you'd like to. And then, yeah, if anybody has any questions, please put them into the Q&A or the chat feature as well. I don't see any at the moment, but they could still be coming in momentarily. But yeah.
And by the way, if anybody's got questions after, feel free to email me directly at mcoates, MCOATES, at medicallienrecovery.com.
Okay, perfect. I'll put that
Or
in.
pick up the phone and give us a call, whatever's easiest for you.
Yeah, I put that in the chat as well for anybody who wants that information. So yeah, we really appreciate you being, you know, corporate sponsor, and we really appreciate all your support and your help. Just, you know, giving all these helpful tools and, you know, making sure that they have the answers that they need at all times. It's really appreciated. So let's take one last look.
There is a question I see. Do you recommend always getting a lien signed by either the adjuster or the lawyer? Great question. And actually, the adjuster or the insurance company will never sign your lien. They have no obligation to, they won't. Everybody's focus is on the patient because the patient is the key player. Like the attorney's worried about the patient for a legal malpractice. The insurance company, especially MedPay, is worried about the patient because that's an insurance bad faith. The doctor yourself is worried about the patient because that's potential medical malpractice. So that's really the focal point. The key person, though, in signing a lien is not the patient. It is the attorney. The patient owes your bill even if they didn't sign anything because you delivered the service. And under contract law, various kinds, they still have to pay you. But by the attorney signing, it imposes upon them fiduciary duties so that you become a client of theirs, okay, in terms of the trust account, just like their own client. And in fact, if you didn't sign a lien and their client said, send me your money, I'll pay the doctor, wink, wink, the attorney oftentimes will have to do that, or will do that. Whereas if there's a signed lien by them, they can't, even if their own client demands that. If they do, they'd have to pay you out of their own pocket because they did that improperly.
That was a great question. Let's see. He said, Dr. Haynes said, great, thank you.
You're welcome, Dr. Haynes.
So yeah, I believe if no one else has any questions, we can definitely, you know, thank you for your time, and we'll be posting the recording of this webinar just in case anybody joined late. Oh, Dr. Real said, hang on. All right.
We will hang on.
We'll hang on, but for those.
While we're hanging, I'll just make a point. We've had a couple people sign up for the portal. So we do have a process that is a review and approval process. Typically takes us just a couple hours to get through it at most, but sometimes it may take a day. So if you did sign up and you finished the long form, please be patient. That's my job to go through and review that. And I'm kind of preoccupied at the moment. So we'll get to it. I'll get to it as soon as we're done with the webinar here.
I see a question from Dr. Rell on how late in collections is there? So I assume that question is, how far back can you go on a bill? So that gets into what's called the statute of limitations. And it's really different than what most people believe. In fact, a lot of attorneys will tell you, you've waited too long, it's 4 years from when you treated the patient. That's not the statute of limitations. It's not the date that you finished treatment. It's the date that there was a breach of that lien agreement that everybody signed. So generally in PI, that can't even potentially be breached until the attorney has received monies from the lawsuit. So you're talking oftentimes a year to 4 years after treatment where that starts the clock ticking for the other 4 years. So you'll be surprised how far back you go. The one thing I would say though is where time has lapsed, what a lot of providers don't do is they stop the follow-up. I've seen them just wait for 4 years, not even talk to the attorney's office or try to reach them. You should be contacting them on a quarterly basis and putting that in a communications log. Anytime a law firm says it's still pending or, yeah, I'm still going to be paying you, that's going to start the clock ticking at least 4 years from that point, and you want that communications log. So I'd recommend you do that too. Dr. Rell, hopefully did I answer your question that you had? Let's see, so, okay. So let's see, I think I said if a suspected lawyer kept a large amount and also paid the patient a large amount, confirmed on the phone. Oh, well, if they already paid the patient then again, that's a big problem. If they signed your lien, they actually illegal converted your money. You've got great leverage against that attorney. By the way, if you find that a law firm, sometimes, they send what's supposed to be called a disbursement listing. So what they send to their own client, the patient, it lists the settlement amount, how much for the attorney's cost, how much the attorney's fees, all the lien holders, and it says net to client. And that's what the patients focus on. How much am I getting? Well, if the attorney based that amount on lien reductions that they never talked to you about, and it's not a policy limit settlement where the patient had a choice whether to settle or try, that's where the attorney can really screw up. And I've seen where what they send to the patient is different from that same listing they send to the providers. So if you ever get that listing from the patient themselves of what the attorney sent them, that can be gold to you to prove that there's some really bad stuff going on. All right, I think we covered it there, Nicole.
Yeah, I think we did. Thank you so much for that. So I'll just say that if you did happen to come in late or there's something that you wanted to go over again and review, we will be putting this webinar on our website under the events off of the menu. There's a Virtual Vendor Friday. So there'll be, you'll be able to review this whenever you'd like. And like I said, there's also the email address for Michael in the chat feature, as well as that registration link for Wine with Mike too. So I would just like to say thank you again so much for joining us today, Michael, Robin, and David. We really appreciate having you all on. And yeah,
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much. And like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Michael. He'd be happy to help.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Oh, thank you for your time, Dr. Haynes. That was the last comment. All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.